Good morning. I did not prep the the camera. I didn't check things out before I started, so just adjusting here first. Down the music down. All right. Well, here we are back again. Taking a look at kind of our path. This is kind of a learning path that I've made for myself as I've gone along with our initial Pong project, which a little bit meta, but I've been getting the VODs onto YouTube recently and realizing how long we spent. I mean, there was a lot of stuff, right, that we did for Pong that just kind of went into the template and it carried over. But yeah, Pong to break out to Minesweeper, to our little platformer. I guess these are, in a way, they're getting bigger scale. But at least, I guess they're also, these are practice projects that are getting less and less fleshed out, I think, as we go, just because I want to focus on learning specific things. I think I might spend some more time with the tower defense game if we can come up with something interesting as a concept and go a little bit further into it. I've been debating, even as just like in the last few minutes, about isometric tiles or 3D. Isometric tiles is what I was thinking of for the game I want to build. So Unbounded is a game that I've kind of teased a bit as a thing that I want to do. Actually, I have a thing down here with some AI generated art. Hey, Window. Hello. Good morning. How's it going? So this is just like concept art of this Unbounded game I want to do. But what I was thinking of is like there will be like interior scenes that I wanted kind of a 3D feel, but I was concerned about doing full like 3D art for it. But on the other hand, it feels like good. What about me? Doing all right. I'm concerned that actually doing 2D isometric for the interiors for this game is going to be much more work rather than just doing 3D with like a locked perspective for it. And I have used Blender before and done some like a little bit of 3D work in Blender. And I mean, nothing professionally, right? So it's all just kind of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do this or that, and kind of follow me tutorials and those sorts of things. But I don't know, it feels less intimidating to go down that 3D path. So what I was thinking today is maybe actually there was a lens flare shader that I was going to mess around with for the platformer, and that really didn't have anything to do with the platformer. It was just something on the list. But I think I'm just going to drop, just stay where we're at on the platformer. I think I have some uncommitted changes. Let me get those pushed up. Let me open VS Code over here. So I messed around with this a little bit in terms of just making a fragment shader and figuring out some things with like, okay, well, the sun needs to be at maybe not a fixed position, but like a parameter for the shader of where the sun is. I think I would need another parameter here of like where the camera is relative to that or something like that. I think if I want the lens flare to change as the player moves in the world, right? I've only gotten really as far as like taking the coordinates and plotting where the sun is, and putting like a red circle, well, a red disc, I guess technically, where the sun location is, just to like to vet some of the stuff out. So this is a 2D canvas item. But yeah, I mean, it's a fragment shader, so it's going to be 2D. But canvas item with blend mixed render mode. But anyway, so I'm not going to be doing. Just remember to add windows to the game. Yeah, like having having a building and having a window so you can let natural light in, and then have like lens flare from the natural light. I definitely intend to have in the game. So going back to this guy, I don't actually have here like a mock-up of like an interior scene. But like imagine this art style, but it's like an interior shot, and then you're like in an apartment building or an office building or something like that, and you have a window that has like the cityscape behind it. But yeah, definitely have some interesting lighting when we get that far. Well, what I'm gonna do is that I think I have some uncommitted things going on here. So we're just like, I did figure out how to attach the shader with the material and texture and all that stuff. So that'll be, let me just commit all of this kind of stuff that I was messing around with last week. And I'll just push that up to the repo. So there is a, on my GitHub, a Godot platformer where all this code is pushed up to. And we're gonna do something new. We're gonna work on a tower defense project so that I can mess around with some 3D. I've decided. So we're gonna figure out 3D. We're gonna figure out pathing, right? So, what do I mean with tower defense? I mean, maybe that is a well understood concept. Let's see. Let's see if I can find an image that kind of reflects what I'm thinking of. So I guess like there's a path that enemies follow, and then you can put some kind of structures that are placeable around the path, or maybe you're building a path to force them in a direction, something along those lines. There we go. 2D is it Udemy course. 2D tower defense gaming Unity, right? So this is the bare bones concept, I think, right? If there's a predefined path and you're able to place defenses or towers along the path and the enemies follow the path, I guess that's fine. I think I was imagining something maybe a little bit more freeform, where the enemies would have maybe you have something to defend, right? You have a thing that enemies can attack that's vulnerable. The enemies spawn from a location, and then how about a game where a train is about to run into a dog defense game? Well, I was imagining something more like where the enemies would be able to choose a direction, right? So that sounds more like something like this, where you have like train tracks, right? And the train could go, like, take different switches to go onto different tracks to find its way to get to the dog, as you put it. I was thinking something more like where the enemies would pathfind, right? Specifically, so that there wouldn't be a predefined path. Like, if you put stuff in the way, the enemies would route around. I guess the enemies would have to... Are the defenses destructible? I guess the limit would have to be that you would... you as the player would have a finite set of defenses to put down. Like Plant vs. Zombies. I've never played that game. What does Plant vs. Zombies look like? Is this it? Let's go to the Steam page. Maybe there's like a video. Yes, this is me. This is me making a game in a genre that apparently I am unfamiliar with. Yeah, so you have things that can attack the enemies. The enemies are different kinds with different stats, I guess. In this, your defenses are destructible. I guess I was thinking, how have I not heard? I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever seen the gameplay. So yeah. Yeah. Do we? You know what's really great? Actual like gameplay footage. I suspect that is not actual gameplay footage. So different kind of defenses that are destructible, and you're trying to prevent them from getting to the end. That's a crime. Look, there's a finite amount of time in a person's life, and a finite number of things that one can do in it. And this is where we're at. So yeah, so it looks like there's a score. You know what would be really cool? Can we not auto scroll? Can we not? How do we keep it from advancing? How does Steam work? It's like you have cards to play to put down defenses. Don't act like I touch grass. I was literally actually yesterday doing a bunch of yard work. Putting in a new concrete footer for stairs for my deck. But anyway, yeah. So this is not 3D. I'm pretty sure this is like 2D art based. But we could do something. I'm thinking some kind of like enemy spawner that spawns enemies. You have a target that the enemies are trying to get to and attack. You can put down defenses. I guess the defenses are both can be obstacles and can maybe be destructible. And I don't know if I'll do this exactly. I'm thinking kind of a little bit different, but we'll see. We'll see what we do. So pathing 3D. Oops. Enemy spawning. So I'm thinking something more like enemies keep on getting respawned, and maybe there is a finite number of enemies, or in Minecraft. Yeah, and then let's see. Destructible obstacles. Destructible obstacles. Obstacles? There we go. Yeah. Tower defense. No question mark. Okay. If depending on how this goes, this could be actually a fun game. I don't know how long I'll spend on this, but we'll spend, today and maybe some other streams, and we'll see how far we can go. So maybe I should open. Well, I have Godot open. Maybe I should close Godot, or do. Quit to project list. Don't save. All right, here we go. We are going to create a new game project. We're going to call this Tower Defense. So renderer forward plus. So this supports desktop platforms only. Advanced 3D graphics can scale to large and complex scenes. Slower rendering of simple scenes. Mobile. Less advanced 3D graphics, less scalable for complex scenes. Supports desktop and mobile or compatibility. So compatibility also supports web desktop, and mobile. I think I have definitely seen in the Godot docs specifically things where it's like it needs to be forward plus. But in terms of what we're doing now, I think I'll leave it in compatibility. We can change it later. It essentially changes the renderer and, like it said, what targets it supports. All right. So in the past, I disabled the 3D tab, so we got to turn that back on. So we go to editor features, 3D editor, and I think I guess a thing I could be doing is I could make profiles that are like 3D and 2D. I could do that. I could do all sorts of things. I'm just going to turn everything back on, though. Cool. All right, so we are going to be in 3D. How about me? As in, the profile is called mine. Let's see. Yeah, like I could create a new profile. I could call it 2D, and then just disable the 3D editor, and I could make another profile called 3D and do the opposite. But I think I'll just turn everything back on. It didn't really gain us that much. It filtered out a couple of things and remove this tab, but I don't mind. So we're gonna create a 3D scene to start with, and now what? All right, so make it so you roll a dice to see how many attackers spawn each wave. Okay, that's an idea. We have the infinite plane. Okay, so we had a child node. So we have node 3D. So let's read what this says. Most basic 3D object with the transform 3D and visibility settings. All of the 3D game objects inherit from node 3D. Use node 3D as a parent node to move, scale, rotate, and show hide children in a 3D project. Affine operations, rotate, scale, translate, have an parent's local coordinate system unless the node 3D is set as top level. Be aware that spatial nodes are now called node 3D starting with Godot 4. I see. Interesting. Is Godot easy to use? Well, I guess relative to what? It is like opening the editor. I think there are some things that trip me up initially, like because you have this window, right? For this window represents the scene that I've not saved yet. So in fact, let's save the scene. Let's see. Control S. There we go. We are going to create a main scene, I guess. So it's called main here, right? So this represents the scene. So like understanding what is a scene, what is a node. You can use the scene as a node, that you can have like multiple tabs here, and it can be UI, 2D, 3D, and then like these tabs give you different views, either potentially on the thing that you have open. Like if I go to 2D, when I'm looking at a 3D scene, I just get like a 2D view of it, right? Versus script. And then like this sidebar on properties, like this is going to give me properties of this thing from like, so there's like different UI, like in the editor, in Godot, there's a bunch of like UI stuff that you have to get familiar with. I've only used Unity for like, let's say way less than I've used Godot. I've basically only used Godot on stream. We're on stream number 16 of me messing around with Godot. And I've used Unity way less than that. So like between the two, I couldn't say. I feel like they're fairly similar, right? In how they work and that sort of thing. There are some differences in terminology and in details of like nodes and what's available and how it works. But I couldn't give a breakdown because I don't know that much about Unity. Thing I hate is importing models and animations. Well, I guess let's talk. Let's. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get to animations today, but I guess let's figure out how to import a model. So if I add a child node, collision object 3D, physics body 3D. Okay, so here's character body 3D. So this looks similar to like character body 2D that we were using in our 2D games. A 3D physics body specialized for characters moved by script. Character body 2D is a specialized class for physics bodies that are meant to be user controlled. They are not affected by physics at all, but they affect physics bodies in their path. They're mainly used to provide high-level API to move objects with wall and slope detection, in addition to the general collision detection system provided by physics body 3D, move and collide. And then there's animatable body 3D, and there's rigid body. Rigid body implements full 3D physics. It can't be controlled directly. Instead, you must apply forces to it. Is there a static body 3D? Like there is for 2D? There it is. It can't be moved. It can be moved manually by other means, such as code or animation mixers. When it's moved, it's teleported to its new position without affecting other physics bodies in its path. So like if you want an object that is going to be like in the scene and you want to be able to move in it and move stuff around, you want to use animatable body 3D. I think if we want a floor, do we use a static body 3D? Oh, there's animatable. Oh. So let me try creating a static body. And it's gonna tell me that I need stuff. Okay, so we need a collision shape. Okay, and this needs a shape. So this is going to be a box shape. All right, we have our first 3D thing. I'm making French toast right now. Nice. All right, so, okay, we have handles. Can we... Okay, so control does kind of unit-based. There we go. Alt. Okay, Alt moves in both directions. So if we do Control Alt, we can move this this way. There we go. And then we have physics material. Let's put a physics material on it. What does that do? I don't know. We can have friction and rough and bounce and absorbent. Okay. What does that do? I don't know. Collision layers, inputs, visibility. There's not like I don't see a material. There's a physics material, but like something like let's just if I run this, select current. What does this actually do? Nothing. We see nothing. We know nothing. Let's add a camera. Is probably a thing, and we could go and find the add-on that we were using for the other project, the Phantom camera. But let's just do camera 3D. A special node that displays what's visible from its current location. Okay. Cool. And then, so I assume, yep, if I click Y, it takes me, there we go, top orthogonal, nice. And then we move the camera, maybe. There we go. Let's see, that's to rotate. Let's see what's going on here. And we don't see anything in the camera view, right? Because we have a shape here, but there's no, it's not like a mesh, and it doesn't have any kind of texture. So that's a thing that we'll need to figure out. How do I don't want to change that. Is there an easier way? Oh, here we go. I don't suppose. Transform. Snap object to floor is interesting. Ooh, and we can have multiple viewports. Sure. Okay, can we have ooh, so many options. Orthogonal here, just to make it easier to see what's going on without perspective. Can we do, let's do top down. Okay, let's turn this like this. Oops. Interesting. Is there snapping? Maybe. Okay, well that snaps with respect to, hold on, is there transform? Here we go. Let's reset rotation. And then what I've been trying to do is essentially just like reset this, and then we want to, which axis is this? Like, yeah, down 30, and then rotate. Like that. There we go. So, and then we raise the camera up. And then, yeah. Okay, cool. So that gives us a perspective on nothing. Let's fix that. Let's get rid of the camera preview. There we go. All right, so we have a camera looking down at what I think I'm trying to make a floor. But the static body doesn't have anything. is there a separate thing that we can add to like a mesh? Let's see. So what we added was a static body 3D, right? See, it says it's useful for completely static objects like floors and walls. But how do we actually see it? Is there a need to add some kind of lighting? I've no idea. Terrific. Okay. Still don't see anything there. Oh, so many properties on the camera. What is a good field of view? Okay, static body. Did I miss something here? Collision input, transform, visibility. I don't see it. Is there like a mesh instance? Is a node that takes a mesh resource and adds it to the current scenario? Creating a single instance of it. This class is most often used. This is the class most often used to render 3D geometry and can be used to instance a single mesh in many places. It allows reusing geometry, which can save on resources when a mesh has to be instantiated more than thousands of times at close proximity. Consider using a multi-mesh and a multi-mesh instance 3D. Neat. So there's a visual instance. Parent of all visual 3D nodes. Okay, let's look. Let's find that and dig into that a little bit. So visual instance. Okay. So there's geometry instance, and there's particles and labels and mesh instance 3D, and soft body 3D, deformable 3D physics mesh. Looks interesting. Cloth, rubber, other flexible materials. Wind forces defined in an area 3D. Neat. There are many known bugs in soft body 3D, therefore it's not recommended to use for things that can affect gameplay, such as trampolines. Okay. Decal. Boy, what is AABB? Axis aligned bounding box. Sure. Right. I lost my place. Shell node. Node 3D. You are first. Rats.
Window_Slothy1001 just got here first and is awesome.
Yes, indeed. So are you a powdered sugar on French toast kind of person? Or cinnamon? Or just syrup? I feel like what I'm looking for is going to be in Geometry Instance 3D. All of it. How about some fruit? Whipped cream? Okay, sprite base. Oh, here we go. Sprite base 3D, sprite 3D. All of the above. All right, nice. A node that displays a 2D texture in a 3D environment. The texture display can be a region from a larger outlook. Yeah, so yeah. Or a frame from a sprite sheet animation. Okay, so this is looking promising. Animated sprite 3D. Carries multiple textures as animation sprite frames. Okay. And there's GPU particles, and there's something under here. What are these things? What is a CSG box 3D? CSG. CSG nodes are intended to be used for level programming. If only I knew what CSG stood for. Let's read the base class. Individual CSG root node results can be baked into nodes with static resources with the editor menu. Yeah, this feels like something I should go find the docs and read about in more detail. It looks interesting, but not germane to what we're trying to do here. The GPU particles as well. Okay, so I think I just want a sprite 3D. And then we're going to use a placeholder texture to figure out what we're doing. Centered. Geometry. Material override for the whole geometry. The material is assigned to this property. It will be used instead of any material. Reading is for nerds. Well, I mean, it's kind of a nerdy activity, maybe. Making games. So we have material overlay. What does that say? The material is assigned to this property. It will be rendered on top of any other active materials for all surfaces. So, and there are flags for Sprite 3D. Billboard, transparent, shaded, double-sided, no depth test, fixed sized. What does that do? If true, the label is rendered the same size regardless of distance. Label. You're deeply offended. Let's see. Interesting. Okay. I feel like this is maybe not what I want. Can we scale this? Yeah, but it's just a flat texture. Let's not talk about your home lab. Okay, fair enough. I'm assuming. Oh wait, you said let's not talk about it. Okay, well, I have some assumptions. Interesting. So let's do. What if we do a thing here? Or we throw a material onto it. Okay, so that material is one way. Transparency, shading. Okay, so we have lots of like different options here. So let's try this. You were saying you're not a nerd. I touch grass. Let me delete this node. Let's pop into Blender, make a simple 3D model, and try to import it. Just because. If Blender loads, that is. We will see. Not responding. Oh, okay. There we go. There we go. We are going to... Last time I checked, it was green. Grass, yes. Okay. Can I make this look bigger for the stream? Let's see, preferences, interface, resolution, scale. Oh yeah, much better. Just do like 1.5 or something. Okay. Cool. That's maybe a little bit better. It's average. There. At least the text is hopefully a little bit more legible. So what are we gonna make? I don't know. Let's was it Shift A? Yeah. I remember Blender. Let's make a monkey. Here we go. And we're just gonna import this just to like do a thing. Suzanne here. So how do I do things? What if I save as? We're gonna just save this as a blend. Feel free to just ignore the other things that are in this. I don't have anything secret. Where? Here, let me move this out of the way. So off to the side. Already. Well, it's just I don't know if you're familiar with Blender window, but there is a like a built-in mesh for kind of like testing purposes. Kind of like I guess a teapot would be kind of a traditional 3D object, similar to that. All right, where's my project? There it is, tower defense. I'm gonna save this as Suzanne.blend. Blender makes me cry. It scares me. You should have seen it long ago. There was a time when I first learned Blender where like tabs like this didn't exist, or menus, or like buttons like this. It was all just keyboard shortcuts. Like you just had to know what the keys were. Yeah, so it's come a long ways. So I saved the blend file here in the project. I did. That's why it scared you. Well, it's come a long way. And there's also like on YouTube, there's a ton of like tutorials for doing whether you're doing like just like mesh stuff, or you're doing like sculpting. If you want to do like character art, do faces, do like rigging, all that stuff. There's a ton of stuff out there. I've seen some of it. I've not really put any of it into practice, which is probably going to change. So here's a question, right? So this says this is a packed scene, right? So if I just drop this into my scene, we have a monkey. It's a big old monkey. Let's see. Can I scale in all the directions simultaneously? I guess the easiest way to do that is just to do transform and then scale. 0.5. Okay, cool. Oops, 0.5. There we go. It's average. All right, so we have a camera. In fact, if we go back to our camera, we can get a preview here. There we go. We can see the monkey in the camera. So let's play this and see our very first thing. Oof. Here. Okay, cool. So we can see a thing. We still can't see the floor. I guess for the floor, what I could do is I could re-add that sprite 3D and just put it at the top of the static body. Right? So just like we are going to want to transform, scale. Still not visible. We need to add a placeholder texture. Okay. Scale it up. Women also scare you. Okay. Can't help you with that one. Interesting. I feel like I'm doing something wrong, you know? You think there's an error? Yeah. There's definitely there were some errors when I was rescaling the mesh for Suzanne. Can we? Effectively, what I want is I want a texture, like I want a surface. I want a surface at the top of the static body 3D. Now, how to actually do that, I'm not sure. But I'm gonna try things. So I guess, let's see, collision shape. That's interesting. What is being highlighted right now? Trying to understand what I'm looking at. Collision shape, sprite 3D. So let's reset this. Set the Y scale to 0. Oh, I didn't like that. 1. Oh wait, which direction is Y? I thought Y. Y is up and down, right? So why would it? Confused. Yeah, Y is up and down. So Y is scaling along Y, going in this direction. Going in that direction. Rotation order, top level. Interesting. Okay. Oh, because I've rotated. I rotated the sprite. So its local axes are different. I stopped making games. I stopped game making now. I'm doing my web and server stuff. Nice. Yeah, that's where most of my experience lies, is in doing like web app stuff, middleware, front ends, all those sorts of things. So I've never, I mean, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I've never done game dev professionally. But I've had an interest for a long while. And I'm finally putting in the time to make that happen. Can we get like a front orthogonal perspective? There we go. That'll make this easier. So what I like to do, let's see if I hold shift. There we go. That is almost right. Let's pretend that that's right. And then let's do like 400. 400. I think what I'm going to do after we get... Well, we have a visible floor. Let me pick up Suzanne here. So let's see. Can we make this look better? Let's see. So we have, so Suzanne here is scene Suzanne.blend was automatically imported. It can't be modified. Okay, so we're not going to modify Suzanne. We are going to do some stuff in Blender. So can we, I know in Blender we have modifiers, right? So we can add a, look, there's like nested menus now. I'm not used to that. I guess we can search, right? So let's subdivision surface. I like server stuff because I can just use ChatGPT for hours at 2 a.m. to fix my errors. Sure, that might work. Sometimes it doesn't. Blender is also not liking. Maybe it's because I'm streaming. I've never experienced Blender being slow like this for such a simple scene. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Let's see. So if we, oh, that's nice. Let's do like 2 in the viewport and 3 for render. I don't know if that's gonna change. Let's see when it's re-imported. Nice. Okay, so our modifiers and stuff on the mesh in Blender do carry forward into the import. Okay, so let's add a material. Slow. This is really nice. Except for, you know, it being slow like this, but otherwise it's really nice to just like be able to edit in Blender and do materials and stuff and then switch over to Godot and it's just like there. Very painful trying to fix errors in a terminal. Sure. Why in a terminal though? Okay, so we're just gonna have, we're not gonna call this anything. We can change base color. I like red. Let's see. How do we? View. Here we go. Viewport shading. Thinking. Well, it's not great. I mean, we could definitely do some things here. So let's take that back. Let us. Okay, so if we wanted to do something basic, because Linux likes when I touch its terminal. Sure. Let's see. How do I need to go into edit mode, and I think what I want to do is I want to grab the eyes and split them. Oh wait. Okay. Yeah. What is it? B. That's not gonna be help. Is it Shift Control B? No, none of those things. Yeah, we can start with just doing some stuff to the eye. I think we'll be good. Is it P? Separate by selection. I feel like there's a way. Okay, we're gonna keep on doing what we're doing here. It's cool that it did duplicate over the subdivision over as well. So we're gonna change the material here. We're gonna boop, boop, unlink data block. There we go. And do new. I'm not a Reddit user or Discord moderator. Okay. What's wrong with that? I'm also, well, I do have a user account on Reddit. And I have a couple of Discords. All right, so this one is going to be white. So the end result is going to be something very odd looking, but it is a demonstration of our ability to do things. Now, what would be cool would be, can we add a physics-enabled node and then put Suzanne inside of it? I think that should be pretty simple, right? So I just need to find where it is. Collision object 2D, physics body 2D, rigid body. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm gonna take a break here, and Twitch is gonna run some ads, and I'll be back in a couple minutes, and we will see if we can make the monkey fall to the floor. So.